Smart people don't like me.
That's the truth. That's the truth. Ooh, a lot of news. A lot of news. A lot of news. We're going to talk about the Dilbert creator. That guy. If you're wondering how healthcare, Donald Trump's concepts of healthcare plans went, well, those concepts included kicking a lot of people, a lot of Americans off healthcare. It also included raising premiums, so people are going to pay double, triple, quadruple what they were paying. But also, if you happen to be a cartoonist who is a right wing, a famous person on the right wing, on the right, a hard right, racist, tirading cartoonist who can reach out to Donald, then maybe you're in luck. Maybe if you're just famous enough, if you're just at that caliber of fame, you can reach out to the president's kids and they'll say, Dad, 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 you got to help this guy with his healthcare. Healthcare is so bad in America that even some people who are famous are still struggling and have to reach out to the president. So if you don't have a direct line to the president, you might be screwed. But we're going to get into that. And then we're going to talk about Donald, Epstein's best friend, and how he admits in an interview. He threw a tantrum about this too, and they clipped it out of the interview. But we got the audio. We got the audio of Donald Trump admitting he is wildly irresponsible as president. We all knew he was best friends with Epstein. We all knew that he didn't care about American workers, that he doesn't care about American families. He doesn't even care about American kids going hungry. We all knew that. But we didn't know just how irresponsible he was when it came to admitting it. When it came to admitting on camera that he's a dum-dum. A dodo. A dodo. You know that bird that went extinct? La dodo. I believe that's Spanish for the dodo. We're going to play that audio for you. It's a gem. And he was, he was running away from that interview after, running right to complain. What else do we have? We have, oh yeah, that's Donald admitting it. Oh, that's right. That's the other thing I wanted to go over in the news before we get to the Dilbert creator asking Trump to help him with his health care. I wonder how the rest of America feels. I never thought Donald Trump cared about my health care, your health care, anyone's health care, his voters' health care. But I wonder about those people that truly believe Donald Trump cared for them. I wonder how they feel once they find out the Dilbert creator reached out to the Trump circle, his kids, and RFK, or I don't know who else was in the tweets. Actually, we'll just talk about it, and then we'll go into the other stuff. Because I don't want to focus too much on this Dilbert. This guy, Scott Adams. Has metastatic prostate cancer, and he appealed to President Trump to help save his life by solving a bureaucratic problem with his health insurance. It worked. His appointment's on Tuesday. Unreal. Because, I don't believe this guy's life is worth any more than, a kid that has cancer. And I think there's an easy way to solve this. You guarantee health care for all the citizens. Universal health care, as some know it. I don't think our country should be dependent on being famous enough to reach out to the president so he can help book your appointment. This is such a dystopian news story. Dilbert creator just happened to be right wing, because if he was like a Democrat, if this was Hakeem Jeffries' friend, it never would have happened. His appointment would have been too long and he would have died. But because he can tweet at the president's kids, let's see, President Trump, his son Don Trump Jr., and RFK. He posted a complaint on X saying Kaiser of Northern California won't give me an appointment. Yeah, welcome to American healthcare. It's like, yeah, buddy. Imagine not being able to reach out to the president's kids. So crazy. You would hope. Well, that's the worst part about the story is like because this guy got what he wanted, got the president to call Kaiser of Northern California. This guy doesn't give a shit about anybody else. He's like, oh, kids with cancer, who cares? It's so crazy that like we could totally try to alleviate this being a issue for Americans. As the story starts, like many Americans, Scott handles his health insurance problems, but instead we're not doing that. Why? I don't know. But Don Jr. said, gonna make sure Dad sees this. And then on Sunday, the president wanted to help Scott. Aw. So now we could put two people on the list that Donald Trump has helped. Ghislaine Maxwell and the Dilbert creator. And it's just surreal. Look it down here. The U.S. healthcare system is notoriously, what does that say? Complex. Sorry, I can't. Darren, anything with minor celebrity status can get special treatment under this administration while American children go without. Yep. It's unreal. By the way, I seen this meme. You know how like Donald Trump still isn't going to release the Epstein files and never will? We're going to have to wait till, Satan calls him back. Just a reminder that Republicans released all 445 pages of the Starr report about so they could do it. They're protecting their own. But I don't want to talk too much more about this Dilbert. Clearly, Dilbert was modeled after himself, right? I think that's autobiographical. But just so you know, if you or a loved one struggling with healthcare, all you got to do is get famous enough and grift a little on the right to be noticed by MAGA. And then if you tweet at the president's kids, they might help you, if you've done enough for them. Oh, God, this is such a heinous system we have. It's not really so much of a system as a heinous way to die, unless you're lucky enough to have some kind of fame or fortune. It's mental. This is mental. Okay. But let's get to... Well, hold on. Let's go over the Snap stuff real quick. Oh, yeah. I like the replies on Twitter. It's good to see there are some still not Elon bots on Twitter. Because some people were saying there are Americans all over who are currently going through similar circumstances. Yeah. And then another responded, how about promoting universal healthcare like the rest of the industrialized first world nations so everyone can be treated, not just celebrity and the wealthy? Ugh. In the shutdown, the healthcare fight started October 1st. 24 million Americans who buy their insurance on the ACA marketplaces are going to see their premiums skyrocket. The average plan will double in price, and that's average. The average plan is going to double in price if Congress doesn't act. Democrats are trying to get those tax subsidies back into the picture because Donald Trump and his treasonous cohorts removed all the tax subsidies. So without that help, everybody's going to be paying even more. We already pay the most in the world for healthcare in America, and our life expectancy is declining. It's not going up. So we already pay the most for horrible, horrible healthcare, a lack of healthcare. And now we're going to pay double on average. This is fucking crazy. This is so crazy. I'd like to think a decent civilization would revolt against this, They'd bring back tradition. like the guillotine or whatever. But you know, we got a big $1 trillion propaganda machine that's working day and night to normalize people paying the most in the world and getting the worst healthcare in the world out of a industrialized nation. That's what this $1 trillion lamestream media, and I'm going to play some of the lamestream media for you because it is absolutely shocking and jarring that CBS has the president on, and they're no more competent than like an Andrew Schultz or a Polio Rogan talking to the president. It's just all softball questions. But I guess that's what happens. Here, hold on. Donald Trump threw a fit over a question linking his crypto pardon to his own family deals. Then CBS cut it from 60 Minutes. I guess this is what essentially happens when this guy whines and complains. Any interview he did where they didn't ask him a question he liked, he would complain. He would throw a fit. He would say, "You're not very nice. That's not a real failing newspaper. Are you even a journalist? Lamestream media, fake news." All he did was complain. So eventually they just figured, if we want to talk to the president, we got to be obedient. Because again, he's throwing fits and they're editing it. So remember, folks, Polio Rogan, the lamestream media, and Joe Rogan is mainstream media now. He's basically just an arm of the government, this regime. He's the podcast department of the Trump regime. But I guess when you cry and whine enough, like he does, they're going to just be obedient and they're not going to push back. And I'm going to play the Norah Jones interview that he got upset about. Norah O'Donnell. God, I keep calling her Norah Jones. And I like Norah Jones. I don't like Norah O'Donnell. But before we do that, let's talk about Snap real quick. So Snap is not going to be funded, or at least the president keeps saying it's not going to be funded. Donald Trump on Tuesday said the administration won't pay food stamps benefits until after the partial government shutdown ends, in potential defiance of a federal court order. So what that means is a court said, yo, you got to use the money that was allotted for SNAP and pay that out. The money that was set aside for a government shutdown that was allocated for this exact instance, federal courts are telling him you got to do that. And the president, being a wannabe tyrant and a really stinky, smelly king, I'm guessing. That's what people have said. He smells like he pooped his pants. But at 80, that's expected. The president is saying, no, I'm not going to listen to a court. He's putting on full demonstration that this American system does not work. And when institutions fail, you don't reform them, you replace them. So he's putting on full display not only how wildly irresponsible he is. Could you imagine not listening to a federal court order? What would happen if you didn't listen to a federal court order? But you'll say, oh, but I'm not the president. You're damn right you're not. The president works for us. He's our employee. Do you get that? You voted for him to represent you. I didn't vote for him, not my president. But the president goes in public service. Remember how some MAGA likes to brag about that? He's not taking his salary. He's doing this out of the kindness of his heart. No, he's not. He's doing this to enrich himself and pardon his corrupt conspiracists, conspirators. But Donald Trump is saying he's not going to listen to a federal court order. So I would say that this tyrannical government is putting on full display that it is broken. I'm so tired of these people calling the disabled, those who can't work, those who do work and need assistance because they're not paid enough, freeloaders. Watch your mouth. Your parents raised you wrong. Let me just say that. You should just be, instead of being a grateful person that you don't rely on this, you're just an asshole. You understand that? Do you understand that calling people who work and still receive SNAP because they're not paid enough by the corporate billionaires that have bribed our politicians to keep the minimum wage where it is and to keep us underpaid and overworked? Do you understand what ass hattery that is to have that take? I don't think you do. I don't think you understand how poorly you were raised, like a feral hog, a swine. Even swines maybe have more decorum than you do. I'm sick of it. Calling people who work and depend on SNAP because they're underpaid and overworked freeloaders? What kind of disgusting place were you raised? Not to be grateful that you aren't in that circumstance. Not to be grateful that you're able-bodied and can work. But you pick on the most vulnerable who are starving in America? You pick on your fellow Americans? You absolute swine. God, I feel like I need to call your parents. Gross. These fucking people, man. Here's some audio of that absolute demon, Carolyn Levitt, wearing a little cross while doing everything in her power to be the exact opposite of what Jesus stood for. Here's some audio of an interview. This is on Fox News.
But I wanted to put a fine point on it. You talked about the president's post here, and he wrote that SNAP benefits will only be given about the upcoming comes to government. I understand your...
So, God, speak up, buddy. People in the back can't hear you. This guy says, in a post on Tuesday, the president said he's not going to open or pay SNAP, even though a federal court ordered him to, because the money was already there. That's what this money's for. You know, so all you jackholes that are like, oh, freeloaders. No, that money is for the hardworking Americans and the Americans who can't work, that are also underpaid, and this country does nothing to help Americans. That money's there. That's what it's for, a government shutdown. And that's what this guy's asking. And we're going to listen to the Bride of Satan. I don't know what she goes by formally.
Previous answers, but as written, how would that not violate a court order as it's written?
And he says, how would that not violate a court order? And what I was explaining is they don't care about court orders. They do stuff, and then the court finds them, I don't know what you call it, guilty. The court finds that they were breaking the law or they shouldn't have been doing it, and the court orders them to do something. They go, oh, well, what are you going to do? They're putting on full display that there is no law and order for those with money and power. And you should be pissed about this.
I've now answered this question several times, Gabe. We are complying with the court's order. We are getting the payments out the door as quickly as we can. USDA sent the guidance to the state. The president is referring to future SNAP payments.
So there they are, the liars in chief and the puppet of the liar in chief. So he tweets, we're not doing it. And she turns around and goes, no. He didn't tweet that. He meant in the future. These people are repugnant. They're all swine.
He does not want to have to keep tapping in to an emergency fund and depleting it.
These people are liars. You understand that. And the unfortunate part about America is our mainstream media doesn't do any pushback. Let's get to that. Let's get to the no pushback. I want to show you what I mean. Because you're almost wasting your breath on this Pam Blondie and her twin, the Bride of Satan, Carolyn Levitt. Didn't she marry like a 70-year-old? It's very weird how this whole crew, they all have like blonde hair and very specific Botoxian look. And all the young women have, or I should say all the old men have young brides. It's very creepy. But I would say, you know, it's probably appropriate for this crew. You know, we're talking about this guy. This is Jeff Epstein. and this is his best friend. They're best friends for a long time. He's all over the Epstein files, and the Epstein files are basically the modern day Illuminati of a child, let's just say predator ring. And it's just weird because Carolyn Levitt's married to like some 70-year-old, and it's just weird stuff, man. Weird. Oh, by the way, I forgot to show you guys this on Halloween. This is what's normally you'd see some like corporate overlord saying this stuff to people. And I even see people in the chat saying this and just using a different example. So you see, Sally, when we give all the Halloween candy to the rich kids, it'll create more candy for everyone. I literally see that being said in a different form in the comments. It's hilarious. But let's get to Trump and his wild irresponsibility. Trump on the Binance cryptocurrency tycoon he pardoned. Trump said, I don't know who he is. And I would argue, that's wildly irresponsible. For an 80-year-old to critique another 80-year-old in Joe Biden saying, oh, use the auto pen, to admit that you're using an auto pen essentially. Because if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know who he is and you're pardoning this person, you're essentially admitting that you're auto-penning your way through the presidency. But peak hypocrisy is what MAGA is known for. It's also when they accuse anybody of anything, it's usually an admission. Phyllis, what's up? Skunk CBS interview. Yeah, well, I'm going to play some of this 60 minutes interview because I can't even say I'm disappointed because the video 2-3 years ago, it's on my channel, you can go back and watch it, where I just said the corporate media is not your friend. You have to understand this. If you're watching the news and thinking, ooh, they have my best interests, I'm going to highlight very clearly how they don't. Not only that, if you didn't hear about this, because you're probably seeing the clips everywhere, but after this 80-year-old man threw a fit because CBS didn't give him a safe space during the interview, they didn't ask him nice questions, they weren't kind to him. And that's how he operates. If you don't give me a safe space and pretend I'm the best at everything, then I throw a tantrum and I call names and I say all sorts of bad things. He's like an adult toddler. He's like an 80-year-old toddler. But you're seeing the clips, and I'm going to play the clip of him in CBS. But he threw a tantrum, and they cut it out because CBS has bent the knee. They're obedient. And if the 80-year-old president is going to have a tantrum about making himself look stupid, again, like this is all like he could have just shut his mouth or not been so stupid. They'll be obedient. They're going to help him. So remember, they're not your friend. Even those people that go, oh, CBS is woke. They're not. They're corporate. They only exist to go where the profit goes, And capitalism just goes where the power is, because where the power is, you can make more profit, because they can get rid of regulations, they can approve mergers, they can do all this stuff. So they don't give a shit about news or quality journalism. And here, I'm going to play this clip for you. This is Donald Trump admitting he was auto-penning his way through pardons. This is a clip from CBS Mornings. And then I'm going to point out how heinous this is for national journalistic standards.
It's one of the topics that the president spoke to CBS senior correspondent Norah O'Donnell about in an exclusive interview on 60 Minutes last night. She also asked him about his latest pardon, a billionaire. He's a founder of cryptocurrency exchange Binance. He's known as CZ. He pled guilty back in 2023 to violating anti-money laundering laws, but then his company helped to boost the profile of the Trump family's crypto firm, World Liberty Financial.
Okay, so did you hear all that? The guy he pardoned, CZ, who was already in prison for money laundering. It's like How many of these crypto frauds do we have to go through till like there's some regulation? Well, he's never going to regulate it because you heard his sons and him own World Liberty Financial, a crypto something that nobody understands, but I'm sure it's made them billions of dollars, and a lot of working people have lost a lot of money. But because his sons got the little boost from this dude, they said, "Dad, you got to pardon this guy." And he openly admitted that he didn't know anything about it. But again, that's what he's saying. I would say he's well versed, you know, even if he didn't know who he was, his sons probably broke it down. Like, "Dad, this guy made us this many billions of dollars. You got to pardon him." But a liar's excuse is always to lie. Whether you didn't know about it or it wasn't me, or, you know, you think about any time you've dealt with a liar. They're not honest, so they're just going to create some made-up story. Like, I had bone spurs, but they only lasted through Vietnam. Once Vietnam was gone, they cleared right up.
In 2025, his crypto exchange Binance helped facilitate a $2 billion purchase of World Liberty Financial's stablecoin. And then...
So they helped... Wait. So they helped... They helped facilitate a $2 billion purchase. So I'm guessing they helped make them at least $2 billion. And that's the Trump sons' crypto scheme.
Liberty Financial's stablecoin. And that helped facilitate a $2 billion purchase of World Liberty Financial's stablecoin. And then you pardoned CZ. How do you address the appearance of pay for play?
Well, here's the thing. I know nothing about it because I'm too busy doing the other.
But I can only tell you
I can only tell you this. My sons are into it. I'm glad they are because it's probably a great industry, crypto. I think it's good. You know, they're running a business. They're not in government.
Did you notice how Nora did no pushback? Besides, well, he got a pardon. I would say this is almost like, what would you call it? Malicious ignorance or malicious not doing your due diligence as a reporter. Like, if you interview the president, the whole thing is to, well, here, let me start like this. Here in America, we have the freedom of press, right? In the First Amendment, we have free speech, freedom of press, and we have that so we can question people in power. The whole reason for America being different than the rest of the world was we could dissent. We could go to our government and ask for a redress of our grievances. That was kind of like the whole concept of America, that we weren't like China and we weren't like Russia. We didn't have to just be obedient or not question anything, fear of being poisoned. And it's amazing how there's a lot of MAGA that don't want to. Journalistic malpractice. Thank you, MK Prod. Great way to put it. Great way to put it. But with America having that free speech, freedom of press, you would expect, more than, well, he got a pardon. You would expect, especially in the long line of this dude accusing Joe Biden of doing the auto pen, of accusing other presidents of being wildly irresponsible, or Joe Biden being irresponsible, or making a big deal out of the auto pen, you would at least expect her to say, "So you auto penned it?" She doesn't have to be clever like that, but when the president says, "Here's the thing, I don't know who he is."
No, I can only tell you this.
The appearance of pay for play.
Well, here's the thing. I know nothing about it because I'm too...
Here's the thing, I know nothing about it. You signed on a pardon that you knew nothing about. I would have said, no, please don't tell him anymore. I don't care that your sons liked him and your sons are into crypto. That's what he goes into next.
Busy doing the other.
But he got a pardon.
I can only tell you this. My sons are into it. I'm glad they are because...
I like Nora O'Donnell. I didn't call her Nora Jones. Pat on the back. I keep calling her Nora Jones. My apologies to Nora Jones. But Nora, you have to have a little more control in your own interview. You have to say, sir, Epstein's best friend. Let me address you as, more proper. Epstein's best friend. I don't care that your sons are into it. I don't care that your sons have a crypto scam. I don't care. You might as well be talking about the Logan Paul brothers. They're not the ones dishing out pardons. And if what you're saying as president, that you're wildly irresponsible, not knowing who you're pardoning, don't you think that's cause for concern for the people who elected you and the other people that you are trying to tyrannically rule over? You understand what the president said in this, right? He's like, I don't know nothing about that pardon. And they're like, isn't that your signature on the pardon? Weren't you the guy who is saying Joe Biden used the auto pen? Who even knows who did the signature? Like, wasn't that your whole thing? That was bad? Auto pen, not knowing things and just signing them is bad? Wasn't that his whole thing? And now he's sitting here in a fucking primetime interview saying, I don't know, I just pardoned him. I know nothing about it. I'm busy doing the other stuff. What, the ballroom? The Epstein ballroom? The Epstein Memorial Ballroom? This is surreal. This is fucking surreal. That Nora Jones didn't go, time out, big guy. Time out. We're going to take a time out. I think that's adorable that your sons like crypto. I really do. Good for them. I bet they've made billions. That's probably why they pardoned this guy. But what you're telling me is because your sons are into crypto, you knew nothing about it, looked into it zero amount. You didn't even use Chat GPT or AI or Google to look into this, and you just pardoned this guy? Would you say that's good for America? I want you to hear this again. This is the epitome of saying, that Donald Trump is a moron. And who's saying it? None other than Donald Trump. Now, before I replay this for you, I want you to remember, he continually, to this day, he's giving Joe Biden a hard time about the auto pen, saying it's irresponsible. We don't know if he even knew what he was signing for, while at the same time going on to major network interviews and admitting he didn't even know what he was signing. He just pardoned him. He knew nothing about it. He was busy with the Epstein ballroom. And how Nora O'Donnell, stop doing that, dude. You like Nora Jones. You don't like Nora O'Donnell. She needs to take some charge. Nora O'Donnell, there's still hope for you. You just take charge, okay? Take charge of your interviews, and I'll like you. But you allow this floppy fish to flop around like a floppy fish in your interview, and my Christ, man, I say have some respect. Have some decorum. Say, young man, not in my classroom. But remember, this is the guy who makes fun of the auto pen admitting, I auto penned this pardon. This is surreal. And this is also why I think he's lying. I think he knew about it and he just doesn't want to go, yeah, I did a pay to play. Like, he boosted my son's company $2 billion and I pardoned him. That's how it works in the Trump regime. I mean, we've seen this before. You know what I mean? This isn't the first time.
Crypto exchange Binance helped facilitate a $2 billion purchase of World Liberty Financial's stablecoin. And then you pardoned CZ.
$2 billion for a pardon?
How do you address the appearance of pay for play?
Well,
So she goes, how do you address the appearance of pay for play? How does he address it? He calls himself an idiot, says he had nothing to do with it, didn't know anything about it. He Joe Biden'd it through. And somehow this is acceptable, not only by Americans, but by the interviewer? Like, at this point, I want you to listen to Nora O'Donnell when he starts to say, I knew nothing about it. She's like, but he got a pardon. But he, like a meek little child in the back of the classroom who didn't do their homework. Like, Nora, step the fuck up. This is your turn. Well, I guess this isn't your chance. I was going to say, this is your chance to, make us proud that you're an American. But really, she's there because she's a puppet for CBS. She's just another corporate puppet who's not going to push back on power, who's going to have the facade of like, well, he got a pardon. I ask tough questions. Are you feeling okay? Is it nice and is the temperature nice in here? I can smell the poop from your pants and it's a great aroma, sir. You know, that's what Norah O'Donnell is. Now listen to her in the background.
Here's the thing. I know nothing about it.
Really? You know nothing about it? So you're just pardoning fucking people you know nothing about? This is insane.
Because I'm too busy doing the other.
The other thing? He's too busy doing the other thing? What, the Epstein Memorial Ballroom? What are you doing? The government is fucking shut down right now. What is he so busy with? Golf? The Epstein Ballroom? What? Somebody let me know. This fucking guy. How is Nora not going like, bro, the government is shut down right now. The government shut down. What are you busy with? Explain to me what's on your schedule. Truth Social? What is on your schedule? Golf?
But
I
he
can
got a
only
pardon.
tell you that.
But he got a
No, I
pardon.
can only.
But he get a pardon? She's going like this. But he get a pardon? But he get a pardon? Like, just fucking flap around with the wacky, flapping, inflatable, flailing arm guy. Just do that, Dora. Just go like this. But he get a pardon? But he get a pardon? Like, you fucking puppet. Jesus. Now you guys are getting me angry. Ugh. How much have taxpayers paid for him to golf? Oh, I know. I think it was last week, and it was like $4 million. By now, it's probably in the double digits of millions. Why are all these Trump supporters coming? Guys, I understand you love Epstein's best friend. I'm going to pull this up again. But we're not forgetting that they're best friends. We're not forgetting that he moved Ghislaine Maxwell into a camp in Texas out of the prison in Florida. We're not forgetting. So every time you admit that you love Epstein's best friend, we think, ew, creep. No girl's ever going to touch your pee-pee. You understand me? You understand me, boy? We had to create a word for you. It's called incel, because you losers have like posters of a 80-year-old dude on your wall. You losers wrap your trucks in Donald Trump gear. You have gender-affirming photos of Donald Trump with his head on Rambo's body. That is some fucking 50s like teen bop girl icon stuff. You know what I mean? Like, ooh, who's the latest in teen pop? Ooh, and then they open to this page and they're like, look, it's Epstein and Trump. I love this episode of Teen Bop. Like, all you freaking incels that are in the comments saying, I love Donald Trump. We know. Get the fuck to Tim Pool's podcast, where he's going to tell you which M&M is reading a gay Dr. Seuss book and is going to make you buy, okay? The funny thing is if you just come out and just, be proud of who you are, whether you're a proud boy or just one of those guys that helped shut down Grindr during the Charlie Clan memorial, just be who you are. America, land of the free. Marry who you want. Do what you want, man, as long as it doesn't harm others. But you freaking little teeny boppers for Donald Trump. He's unpopular. I don't like him. I don't care that you do. Go to Tim Pool's podcast. He will tell you which books are turning the elephants gay. And you guys will fall for it. And Putin's like, seriously, they're so easy to manipulate. Putin pays Tim Pool to make you think a green M&M needs to be hot. And that's what's wrong with America. It's like a bad fucking... It's like Ben Shapino's what's his movie making company? Like Right Wing Media? I don't know. But like Ben Shapino and Matt Walsh are like making comedy movies that are horrible. It's like they wrote a comedy movie. Oh, it's surreal how dumb it is. So anyways, let's get back to the president admitting he pardoned someone, had no idea what he was doing, that it was basically an auto pen, and the CBS anchor just saying, but he got a pardon? But he got a pardon?
How do you address the appearance of pay for play?
Well, here's the thing. I know nothing about it because I'm too busy doing the other.
But
I
he
can
got a
only
pardon.
tell you that.
What is the other thing? Norah O'Donnell, not Jones. How do you not, like, the government is shut down. He's refusing to pay for SNAP against a federal court order. The federal court said that money's allocated for SNAP. You need to do it. And this guy, Donald Trump, Epstein's best friend, is pretending like he's the busiest man in the world. How does Nora not take that moment to go, are you busy doing what? I just would have loved to see her be able to hit back in real time and see what he has to make up, because he would have had to make up something. It would have been hilarious if he was like, I'm busy with the ballroom, the Epstein Memorial Ballroom. I think that's what he's naming it, folks. You know, in honor of his late best friend. Towels from all the chandeliers. Nora, how did you not go busy doing what? This is why corporate media is not your friend. They don't even ask the most basic shit that just comes to your head when you're like, he's busy during a government shutdown where he was like, said we're not doing shit. Right. What is he busy doing? Filling up his diaper?
No, I can only tell you this. My sons are into it. I'm glad they are because it's probably a great industry, crypto. I think it's good. You know, they're running a bit.
Again, do you hear what the president, he's like, I don't know anything about this. And then he's like, my sons are into it. And how is Nora quiet? How is Nora not like, how do your sons being into crypto excuse a pardon of a money laundering guy who fucking helped you with helped your sons with $2 billion of crypto purchases? Like, how is Nora not going, yeah, this is why it sounds like pay for play, because your sons are really into this. He made your sons a lot of money, and then you give them a part. Like, the fact that Nora O'Donnell just gets quiet is fucking exhausting as an American, because you watch this shit, you're like, I want to rip my hair out. I would be a better journalist on CBS. They would never have me because I would ask these questions. Hardy the Prophet, thanks for the $2. Says, why are you so dumb? Oh, man. You know, incels like you really make me disappointed in the working class of America. The people that are just like, why do you have to talk about them being best friends? Why can't you just shut up and be obedient like the rest of us? Oh, Hardy, I'm sure you and your redneck friends are fucking, you know, think you're proud of getting the immigrants out of here. Not understanding that it was never the problem. The problem is that, wait, I have a tweet. I have a tweet for it. Where is it? Where is it? The problem is that Walmart and McDonald's are among the top employers of workers who rely on food stamps. McDonald's CEO raked in $18 million, over 1,000 times the company's median employee pay. Walmart CEO pocketed $27 million, 930 times the company's median employee pay. The only thing that's changed is CEOs now are making 930 times their median employee, or 1,000 times. Back in the 50s, 60s, they were making 20, 25 times. You're telling me in the past 60 years, somehow only the CEOs have started to work 930 times harder, and the average worker is working not as hard? How do you rationalize this in your mind? Were you like, of course, CEOs are definitely 1,000 times smarter than they were 60 years ago, and workers are much stupider? And if you think that, please be a CEO, because if you're telling me that you're a worker and you think that you're not worth working one job, buying a house, having vacation, not having to earn your sick time, well, I call that a class traitor. Other people just might think you're dumb, but that's other people. This is the only thing that's really changed in America, not immigration. We've had immigrants, I would say, since the first immigrants came here. But somehow, well, again, you might listen to Nora O'Donnell, not Jones. My God. Oh, God. These people are just scum. This is why they like Donald Trump, because they're scum. They're absolutely scumbags. And they say people are fat, so they shouldn't. Like, scumbag. You were raised by swine. I hope you know that. Raised by absolute swine. And you disgust me, because Americans shouldn't be going hungry. Not while these CEOs are laughing all the way to the bank. You know, they don't worry about it. Donald Trump doesn't worry about it. Not while he's pardoning criminals and complaining about admitting it on TV. You know, you look like a dum-dum on TV. By the way, I included a link about this dude that Trump pardoned, and it goes into, you know, how he helped their company, how he got the pardon. It's exhausting because it's all the same story. It's like, oh, he helped the president's son and the president get richer, you gets a pardon. Oh, Ghislaine Maxwell releases the birthday card that Donald Trump said didn't exist and then said, I've never doodled, and she gets to move to a camp instead of a prison. Like, it's exhausting. This is in front of your face and you're still denying it, I guess. I don't know. I still don't understand how some of these people think Epstein's best friend, a coastal elite Nepo baby from New York, a rich guy, the billionaire elite people that they were so against, thought all of a sudden he's the one. He's the coastal elite billionaire Nepo baby rich kid that's going to save us. He's the one. Like, he used to brag. You should go look up, you know, the pictures of him with Barron when Barron was little on his skyscraper in New York and all the fancy toys around him. He's always bragged about being a coastal elite, and somehow you thought this was the one coastal elite that was going to help you? God damn, we need to invest in education. These people are idiots. Oh, these people are idiots. Oh yeah, so I wanted to show you this because this was on Blue Sky. When I read the full transcript of the interview, I realized there had been no pushback, no corrections, no challenging follow-ups. The entire interview had been an open-ended opportunity for Trump to tell rambling lies only to have them cleaned up into a more polished product. And that's true. They edited it, whatever he didn't like. I mean, talk about propaganda. The 60 Minutes obeys in advance piece. You should read this. If you get a chance, I did not link this in the description. But Crushed Ice, what's up? Good to have you here. Good to have you here. Yeah, Mike, YouTube might have recommended this to you in hopes that you were a decent American who hated corruption, hated these rich elites that are pardoning their friends, ensuring health care for their racist friends. We talked about that earlier. And that you'd be against that you would want your communities to be doing better. But apparently, Mike, you are not that person, so skedaddle. They didn't want to get sued for $250 million. They could have taken that lawsuit and won, you know, any of these. They're obedient in advance. That's what I was trying to show you. That these people are obeying in advance. Why? Because the owners of CBS, the owners of Skydance, the owners are right-wing grifters as well. And they know as long as they stay in Trump's pocket, there's a lot of money to be made in that pocket. Think about it. Donald Trump sold you a Chinese Bible with whatever, with the Constitution, I don't know what was in it. But he sold you a separation of church and state fucking Bible with the church and state in the Bible. He's selling people Take America Back bumper stickers from who? I really want you to think about that one. People have bumper stickers on their cars that say, Take America Back. Take our country back. From who? Donald Trump is the rich coastal elite that's always owned this country. He admitted it in the 90s or 2000s that if I need a favor, I just donate to a politician. He said all this stuff. And they have no awareness, no self-awareness that they're buying bumper stickers that are so ironic that it's not even funny, because they're investing in a dude who needs a safe space, who does gender-affirming care like makeup. Look at that orange makeup on him, by the way. I mean, Christ. Christ, guys. You think that's a natural orange? He should start a makeup line, you know? Apricot Rouge. I think Crayola would have a hard time naming that fucking color. My good God, folks. Oh, my good God. But I just wanted to point out, when you hear these people, maggots, M-A-G-A-T-S, or Donald Trump talk anything about the auto pen. Joe Biden was so old. It's so funny when an old guy is calling another old guy old. But I want you to remember, he pardoned this dude. By the way, P. Diddy's bragging in jail about getting a pardon, so just be on the lookout. I'll go live if that happens. Hit subscribe, hit notification bell.
Pardon CZ. How do you address the appearance of pay for play?
Well, here's the thing. I know nothing about it because I'm too busy doing the other.
What are you gonna
I know nothing about it. So he pardoned a guy and then goes on TV and says, I know nothing about it. I'm trying to reach out to the core Americans. I'm trying to plant seeds to the other ones. We should reject this in whole if a president's saying, I pardoned him, but I know nothing about it. Knew nothing, didn't read about it. They just put paper in front of me and I just signed a pardon. What if he was a mass? You know what? Like, I want you to understand that this goes beyond your stupid MAGA hat, your red hat. That's the identifier for people to understand not safe around children. I want you to understand we should all reject that. You know, like that kind of wild irresponsibility of going on TV, someone saying, was this a pay-for-play pardon? And him going, oh, you're in luck. This wasn't a pay-for-play pardon. I didn't even know anything about this. I just auto-pen that sucker and let it go through. Like, I would like to think most Americans, regardless of your political affiliation, stop making life decisions whether you're blue or red. My Christ, folks, it's ruining the country. Like, stop. Because this is one where you should not have a political affiliation to say, the president saying, oh, you're in luck. This wasn't paid to play. This was, I knew nothing about it. Like the president saying, I knew nothing about it, really should be a signifier that he's wildly unfit to fucking be in that position. And then he goes on like a rambling maroon saying, my kids really like this stuff. Like some fucking weird parent that's like, oh, no, I didn't buy that album for him, but my kids really liked it. I got him the new album. Like, what the fuck is going on? And Nora O'Donnell, not Jones, is sitting in the background. She's probably got a minder, you know, like North Korea minder at CBS. In Ellison minder, saying like, hey, you watch your mouth. You keep this a safe space for that president. He's going to have a tantrum if you don't say nice things.
I can only tell you this. My sons are into it. I'm glad they are because it's probably a great industry, crypto. I think it's good. You know, they're running a business. They're not in government.
He says they're not in government. If they're not in government, why are you pardoning guys that are helping your sons? Oh, nepotism at its finest, being admitted in 60 minutes. Being admitted. Oh. Red states are more reliant on SNAP, but Benjamin, nobody's wealthy in America. Nobody that's not wealthy in America can afford therapy. But what do you think I need therapy for? For thinking the president admitting that he knew nothing about a pardon he gave is insane? Are you okay? You know, some people should not have commenting power. Just like some people shouldn't be in charge of stuff if they're willing to go on TV saying, I knew nothing about the pardon I gave. Some people shouldn't have the responsibility to fucking type in the comments. But, you know, I do have absolute radical mods. Thank you guys for, you know, weeding them out. The Grindr site crashes every time MAGA gets together. That's very true, Sassy Mo. Oh. Yep, Joel, I do. I want hateful people and stupid people to be censored. It's unfortunate we don't have him censored. But if you're going to be just a moron or hateful, racist, misogynist, homophobic, transphobic, yeah, you're going to be censored. You guys wanted a comedian censor for just having his free speech. Fucking, you guys all cheered that on, said, oh, actions have consequences. You work for a company. All like a moron fucking mouthpiece. But I'll freely admit, yeah, if you're going to be hateful or a fucking idiot, my mods will quiet you. And just go about your business, right? Right? Just go on about your day. Go to Tim Pool's thing. I'm sure he's talking about which Eminem is making everybody gay now. You guys are exhausting. It's funny when people go, I reported you. Really? You're a tattletale? You reported me because I said I'm going to silence hateful people. I want you to understand the mindset, you know, the absolute squirmish little swines that have to go, I reported you. You said if we're racist, you're going to censor us. I would expect nothing less. I would expect nothing less than the people who, remember, this is what Donald Trump said.
Smart people don't like me.
Smart people don't like me. So what does that leave? Stupid people. And boy, do they get mad if you critique their dear leader. But they also show off their stupidity when, you know, you're like, hey, if you're hateful or extremely stupid, I'll censor you in the comments. And they're like, that's it. Reporting this guy right away. He doesn't let me be hateful. Oh my God. It's exhausting. Oh, all right. So yeah, I wanted to play that audio for you. If you missed earlier in the chat, we talked about Dilbert creator. He reached out to Don Jr. and Don Jr. said, "Daddy, help him with his health care." And they did. So how do you feel, America, that if you're a right-wing cartoonist, you can get help with your cancer treatment? The rest of you, tough luck. You're just going to have to keep dealing. What makes this story worse is that right now, health insurance premiums are at least doubling. At least, at least doubling in price. That's the average plan. Some of them are going to be way, way more than double in price. And it's just such a salt in the wound that this guy's like, reach out to the president. I need a healthcare appointment right now. And they're like, on it. And the rest of America's like, well, there's kids with cancer. There's a lot of people. We could do universal health care. And they're like, no. It's only favor for favor. That's why, this whole interview, him admitting, oh, I don't know anything about that. He made my sons rich? Ooh, I don't know. Oh, I just gave part. I knew nothing about it. That's why this isn't a surprise. This is how this regime operates. And I linked all this stuff. They canceled Cancer Research. Thank you, Robert Wood. They did. They canceled it. They also, what was it, a few months back, I remember reading a story about there was like a 4-year-old American kid battling cancer and they deported them. I don't remember too many details about the story, but I remember there's so much. That's the thing that Steve Bannon said. They're just going to throw everything at the wall so you can't keep up with it. It's too much. It's overloading. You can't keep up with it. And they're hoping that you quit. And we're not going to. We're going to keep speaking out against this tyrannical force. Trump. Epstein who? Jeffrey? Never heard of him. Shout out to the real ones in the chat. 100%. And for everybody who has been with us for a while, the community, the family, the coalition, thank you. And for the new folks, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm here every single weekday. When I heard Dick Cheney passed away, I said, damn it, wrong guy. Well, don't they come in threes, Sassy Mo? So, shout out to the vibe coach. I am your vibe coach, helping some of these insoles keep their vibe in check, When they show how poorly their parents raised them, I'll always call it out. How dare people, go after hungry, starving Americans? That really bugs me. Clearly they've never been hungry or starving in their life, and they should be fortunate. They should feel grateful, not feel like they need to put salt in the wound. But that's what they learned from their dear Chicken Supreme leader, Sassy Mo. Hey, what's up, President Reagan? Good to see you. Good to see you, man. They could open the government. Just put the subsidies back in place so premiums don't double. Oh, God. Guys, stop believing everything Fox News tells you. Even more important, look at some of this. I was reading the Bible today, right? For all that is in the world, the lust and sensual craving of the flesh and the lust, the longing of the eyes of the boastful pride of life, these do not come from the Father, but they are from the world. Whoever says he lives in Christ to walk and conduct himself just as he walked and conducted himself, that means that you will act like Jesus. We are glad when we are weak, but you are strong. We also pray that you be made complete. Father, by the life you live, For this reason I am writing you these while absent from you, so that when I come I will not need to deal with you severely in my use of authority which the Lord has given me to be used, sorry, the chat's in the thing, for building you up and not for tearing you down. Now I believe this is in Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, was I reading earlier? So I believe this is written by Paul, and Paul was kind of a jerk. I don't really like Paul's writing. But I wanted to point this out because even Paul, the jerk, said, the power of the Lord has given me to be used for building you up, not for tearing you down. I want MAGA to think about that. Because for all you do in the sake of being a Christian nation, you certainly are willing to tear people down and not build them up. Not say hungry people, we should, make sure you have food to eat. Whoever's being oppressed, we should make sure that we've built you up. But you are ready to tear everyone down. And I thought it was so weird, man, because you could just read this stuff for yourself in the Bible and see how it says to act accordingly. But where's my other Bible verse? Oh, whoever says he lives in Christ, that is, whoever says he has accepted him, ought to walk and conduct himself just as Jesus, he walked and conducted himself. Do you see? Just say this to everybody. You don't got to be Christian. Just don't be red or blue. Just be an American. Just be a human. Have compassion, decency. But do you see the people that are walking around claiming to do things with a cross on their neck? Do you see them freely lying? Do you see them not building people up? Do you see them acting like Jesus? Or do you see them greeting, lusting, name calling? Do you see them, defending Epstein, lying about the list? Do you see them doing those things? I would not say that they are in Christ, but that's just me. And Nora O'Donnell, I almost said Jones again. Nora, oh yeah, did you see this? Set the record for longest delay. This is a girl who was elected, being seated while holding the deciding vote on the Epstein files. She has the longest delay, a record for the longest delay in being seated in, Congress, I think? Because she holds the deciding vote. So if you're wondering why the Republicans are not going to allow the government to open back up, it's that. Yeah, Tim, that's a good point. These same Christians were telling their pastors to stop turning their cheek because it's too weak. I seen some of that. They want to be called Christians, but they don't want to be them. Well, they want to use Christianity as a shield and a sword against others, but they don't want to use it to actually live like Jesus. And I would say, get away from me, Satan, to those people. That's why this shut down 100%, Sid. Yep. Hold them as team pageants. So, guys, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. There was a lot of news today. There was some stuff I didn't include. Maybe we'll get to it tomorrow. But the Trump stuff, Nora O'Donnell. God, I keep calling her Nora Jones. That CBS interview, that really bugs me. I have a video about CBS specifically when they were talking about inflation and the economy, and I break down how they are not your friend and how they mislead you, and they bring on these economists or these people or the president, and they do no pushback, and they just allow these people to lie and ramble and lie and say the most heinous things, and CBS in 60 Minutes normalizes it. So you think this is normal. This is not crazy, but in a decent world with common sense human beings, you'd be like, what? He's giving pardons and he knows nothing about it? Like, we would be irate. We would revolt. So watch things with a critical eye, please. Listen to things with a critical ear. It's our duty. It's our duty. It's our duty as Americans, because they're not going to hold themselves accountable. The powerful are not going to hold themselves accountable. So we will. So that's why I say join the community, join the family, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Much love. Be kind to each other. Peace.